Hello, kindergarten friends. It's Mrs. Rogers here. I'm here today to share a literacy activity with you. And yesterday, for your literacy activity, I posted for you a Brain Pop Junior video. And it talked a little bit about sequence and sequencing. And Annie and Moby shared a story with you and explained to you that sequencing means when you put a story in order. So, kind of like what we talked about the other day with the beginning, the middle, and the end of a story, sequencing is being able to tell a story or give details about a story in order from the first things that happen to the middle things that happen to the end things that happen. So, today we're going to do a little practice with that. And I have a story to share with you about a bunny. And in this story, this bunny kind of decides that he doesn't want to be a bunny anymore. He'd rather be something different. Have any of you ever felt, I wish I could be something different? Like, I don't know, maybe a firefighter, or a princess, or a prince. Maybe some days you've felt like that. Well, in this story, he feels like that a lot. He doesn't want to be a bunny anymore. He wants to be a different animal. So we're going to start reading the story together. And then when we're done, we're going to work on putting some of the story in order. We're going to kind of tell it again, but we're going to talk about the characters that we see in the book. And we're going to put the characters that we meet with the bunny in order on our board. Okay? Let's start with the story first. It's called It's Not Easy Being a Bunny. And it's written by Marilyn Sadler, and it's illustrated by Roger Bolin. And you might recognize this up here. That's The Cat in the Hat. So this is a beginner book, okay? Doesn't mean that it's written by Dr. Seuss. It just means that it's part of the beginner book series. So let's go ahead and open. And here's our title page. It's Not Easy Being a Bunny. I'm going to get a little comfy. He has the best name. His name is PJ. PJ FunnyBunny. PJ FunnyBunny was very sad. He did not like being a bunny. His mother made him eat cooked carrots every day, and he had far too many brothers and sisters. That's a lot of brothers and sisters. Too many to count. And PJ FunnyBunny, he thought his ears were very big. So one day, PJ decided to leave home. And here he is. I don't want to be a bunny anymore, said PJ. I want to be a bear. Oh my goodness. And PJ went to live with the bears. But when the bears went to sleep for the winter, PJ could not sleep at all. Living with the bears was not very exciting. Now we know bears hibernate all winter long, but PJ FunnyBunny doesn't want to do that. He wanted to do something more exciting. So PJ said, I don't want to be a bear. I want to be a bird. Being a bird looks like fun. You get to fly everywhere. And PJ went to live with the birds. PJ liked being a bird until he tried to fly. So PJ said, I don't want to be a bear or a bird. I want to be a beaver. Look at those big beaver teeth. And PJ went to live with the beavers. The beavers liked to work very hard. They were always busy building. But PJ didn't like to work at all. So PJ said, I don't want to be a bear or a bird or a beaver. I want to be a pig. And PJ went to live with the pigs. Those pigs look like they're having a lot of fun, don't they? I wonder if he's going to want to stay being a pig. But the only thing the pigs liked to do was sit in the mud. Oh, I don't know if you can see him down here. Here's PJ. I don't think he likes the mud very much. So PJ said, I don't want to be a bear or a bird or a beaver or a pig. I want to be a moose. And PJ went to live with the moose. You can see him up there at the top, riding on the moose's head. But PJ could not make good moose calls. Here's the big moose. He's saying, mook. And here's PJ. He's saying, moo. Didn't quite sound like the moose. So PJ said, I don't want to be a bear or a bird or a beaver or a pig or a moose. I want to be a possum. There's those possums getting ready to climb that tree, and you can see their long curled tails. And PJ went to live with the possums. The possums like to hang upside down, but hanging upside down gave PJ a headache. So PJ said, I don't want to be a bear or a bird or a beaver or a pig or a moose or a possum. I want to be a skunk. And PJ went to live with the skunks. Do you think he's going to want to live with the skunks for very long? I don't think so. Why do you think he might not want to live with the skunks? I'll give you a hint. Yeah, the smell. It did not take PJ very long to find out what he did not like about living with the skunks. Look at his nose. Ooh. So PJ said, I don't want to be a bear or a bird or a beaver or a pig or a moose or a possum or most of all, a skunk. What I really, really want to be is a bunny. So PJ hurried home. The funny bunnies were very happy to see him, and PJ was very happy to see them. That night, PJ ate all of his cooked carrots, and he played with every one of his brothers and sisters. He was so happy to be a bunny again that he did not care that his ears were very big. At least everyone can see that I am a bunny, PJ said, and not a bear or a bird or a beaver or a pig or a moose or a possum or a skunk. And that is the end of PJ FunnyBunny's tale. So I think PJ realized he was really happy being a bunny after all. I think when we really think about ourselves, sometimes we wish we were other things, but when we really think about it, we're pretty great, no matter who we are or what we do, or if our ears are big or not. So we end up being pretty happy being who we are. So are you ready to work with me to put the story in order? We're going to do it by characters. We're going to put it in order by the characters that we met. So I have all of our characters here. You can see I've got PJ, and I've got, let's see, the moose, and the bird. Okay, so I want you to think about the story. And I want you, this is an important part of thinking about the sequence of stories. And when you retell a story, you want to make sure that you're telling it in order. from what you saw first, then next and next until you get to the end. So let's think about it for a minute. Who was the very first character we met in our story about it's not easy being a bunny? Who was the very first character we met? Yes, it was PJ FunnyBunny. And here he is, he's decided to leave home. So PJ was the very first character we met. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my trusty tape and we are going to put PJ on the very top of the board because that is who we met first. Can you see that? Okay. So when PJ decided that he was going to leave home, let me see if I can move it forward for you boys and girls so you can see PJ. Okay. When PJ decided he was going to leave home, he went to live with a different family first. Let's see if you remember from the story, which is the first animal family that PJ wanted to go and try to be like? When I think of this animal, I think of Goldilocks. A bear, that's right. PJ wanted to go and try to live with the bears. Excellent job. So the second character we met was the bears. So we're going to put the bear right after PJ, right on our board. Can you see that? So we have PJ and then the bears. Excellent. So PJ then decided, I don't like hibernating all year long. It's just not for me. So then he decided he wanted to try and be a bird. That's right. He wanted to try and be a bird. So here's our bird friend right here. But PJ, after trying to be a bird, realized that flying was pretty tricky. And he said, I just don't think being a bird is for me. Flying is too hard. So he decided that he would go and try to be with another family. Let's see if you remember what the next animal family was. So here PJ left home. He tried living with the bears. That didn't work. He tried living with the birds. That didn't work. Yes, he wanted to try living with the beavers. Remember those big teeth? So PJ went to live with the beavers, and he thought he'd have a lot of fun. But the beavers were really hard workers, and all they did was work. And PJ didn't like to work. So PJ decided, well, being a beaver is just not for me either. So I think I will go and I will live with the pigs. The pigs. He wanted to go and live with the pigs. And to look at the pigs, they looked like they were having so much fun. But there was something about the pigs that PJ, I'm going to put the pig down here, that PJ did not like. Who can remember what PJ didn't like about living with the pigs? Think about that for a minute. That's right. The pigs like to spend a lot of time in the mud, and PJ did not like being dirty in the mud. So he decided he'd move on. He'd move on to his next family. Who remembers what that next family was? When PJ decided he didn't want to be with them, it was because he couldn't make the same calls that they were making. It's a really big animal. Yeah, the moose. Remember, he couldn't make the moose call like the big moose could. So he said, well, I can't make moose calls, so this isn't going to work for me. I'm going to have to move on from being a moose. So let's look back at who we've met so far. So we met PJ when he was leaving. He started the story with us. And then we met the bear family and the bird family. We also met the beaver family, the pig family, the moose family. And that's when he decided he couldn't be in the moose family. So who remembers where he went or who he tried to live with after the moose? Think about this one. This was the animal that liked to hang upside down. That's right. It's the possum. And there was something about the possum family that PJ didn't really like. Because they hung upside down, what would happen to PJ when he would try to do it? Who can tell me what happened to PJ when PJ tried to hang upside down? Yes, he'd get a headache from hanging upside down, so he knew that that was not going to work. So he said, well, I'll give it one more try, and I'll try to live with this other family. Think about the last animal that we met with PJ, and think about why he did not want to be this animal. Do you remember? I'm going to give you that hint again. Yes, PJ wanted to try being a skunk, but we all know that sometimes skunks can be pretty stinky. So PJ thought immediately, there's no way I can be a skunk. So think about what he did at the end of the story. Think about what he chose to do, because he decided at the beginning he didn't want to be a bunny. So he said, I don't want to be a bunny. I want to be a bear. And then he decided, I don't want to be a bear. I want to be a bird. And then he said, no way, flying's too hard. I don't want to be a bird. I want to be a beaver. And then after being a beaver and seeing how hard they work, he said, I don't want to be a beaver. I want to be a pig. And then after being a pig and seeing how muddy they were, he said, I don't want to be a pig. I want to be a moose. But then realizing that he couldn't make the same call as the moose, he said, I don't want to be a moose. I want to be a possum. They looked pretty cool. But hanging upside down really hurt his head. So he didn't want to be a possum anymore. He said, I want to be a skunk. And then as soon as he realized how bad the skunks smell, what did PJ decide? Do you remember, boys and girls? What did he decide after he decided he did not want to be a skunk? He wanted to be a bunny. That's right. He wanted to go back and be his happy little bunny self. And he realized that he enjoyed his bunny family and eating cooked carrots and playing with all his brothers and sisters and having big ears. So that is the story of PJ FunnyBunny. And that is the order of the characters that we met. Do you see all those, boys and girls? So this is an activity that you can do with a grown-up with just about any story that you read. I think about the story of the Three Little Pigs, or I think about Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And you can put those stories, you can read those stories or talk about those stories with your grown-ups, and you can put them in order, in that sequence, from what happens in the beginning to what happens at the end. Or you can put them in sequence by how you meet characters. There's lots of different ways to do it. So I want you to try that today if you have time, And if not, Mrs. Rogers is going to give you a few tools. Oops. Oops, sorry, I lost my screen. I'm going to give you a few tools to try it out tomorrow, okay? Enjoy your day. I hope the sun shines. I'm hearing it's going to come out. I'm sorry that I had that little glitch with my computer, but I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Have a great day, boys and girls.